Last time on The Great Ace Attorney 2.
What's this?
Oh, that's some of the fourth wall that got shattered in the last episode.
God's sake.
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you're
You know, I'm not even gonna say it.
What?
If you look at the envelope from its side, it has a very particular shape there at the bottom right-hand corner.
Are you suggesting that it's a penis?
Maybe.
It's a peculiar penis, Taylor.
Maybe it's a page out of the picture of Monsieur Lecoq.
Oh, I mean, wow.
Oh, Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in a cell again so soon.
Oh yeah, he said
What?
What
the
I was wondering if it was all an act.
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Zombie!
Oh, very good. Oh.
What the frick is going on?
Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player.
Oh,
there is a spotlight again. Where are these coming from? I swear to Christ.
Mr. Sholmes left his spotlights.
How soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed. Oh, happy day. But
Wow.
what?
That way is left bent.
Walking Dead! Also, that looks like a very painful angle. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here.
That's a mood.
It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back, and the chap was up until past 1 in the morning. I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark now.
Is everything all right, Mr. Zato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadeb, you were up here in your room all evening.
Not a big fan of stairs. Not with this blasted leg.
Then how is it that you seem to know the precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean?
Uh-oh.
Oopsie.
Oh, that was quite the move. I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
Then how did you know, Mr. Garadeb?
It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything. Good day, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Disillusioned Plays, The Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve, where we play the games and do the voices. I don't know why I'm doing this, but the holiday spirit is upon us. The winter solstice is rapidly approaching, and I wish for you to feel
you sound
merriment.
just full of holiday cheer there, Prosecutor Van Zix. Do you
I
want
wish
to,
for
perhaps,
you to feel merriment.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm Pete.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Taylor.
And I have no idea what that bit was, but it's out there, it's happened, and it's in the episode, so we just got to deal with it and move on. And so, let's swiftly move on. But before we hop on in, don't forget that if you like what we do, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. That way you get notified of our stuff, which is all fun.
I think you mean jingle that bell.
That's true, yes.
Jingle that Christingle. Which doesn't have bells on it, so it wouldn't jingle.
No.
And we return back to Soseki with his piece of ham pocket square doing the communication pose from Bloodborne.
Yeah, it does look like a weird, sort of, I don't know, some Italian meat that I've seen once that kind of looks like that patchy.
Yeah.
I can't think what it's called, though. It's got a name.
Like prosciutto,
Prosciutto.
Right?
No, it's not prosciutto.
It does look like
kind of. No, it's kind of a bit more like sausagey-like.
Sausage.
Monsieur Lecoq.
What? Soseki Natsume? Sausage Natsume, or whatever it was.
Sausage Natsume.
Right. Are we ready?
Right. Oh, yes, it's my line. Whoopsie.
Yeah.
And
there we go.
The debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea?
No! Never! Not at all! Team Juliet won! That was me! And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit! I swear it! Categorically!
Oh.
I wasn't expected to be screaming immediately.
Cursed existence. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence, or I suppose it's more of a cursed existence!
Cursed! I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for over a year now, and in that time I've learned that it's no place for me.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and to adapt the ways of another culture.
There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh.
Mr. Natsume, I should point out that you're actually the foreigner here, not the people that are living in the country, but details, I suppose.
That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room.
Me too.
Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. And then, one week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? Why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money. It spoke to me.
The rent?
Yes, they're the only place that would deal in butterflies and moths. Obviously.
And pocket lint.
And pocket lint. Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh, no!
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead, and no one could explain why.
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that, unless they were a very, very desperate individual.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books! And books cost money! A horrible history is a small price to pay!
I remember those books from when I was a child.
Horrible histories.
Horrible histories.
They were good. They were fun. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning.
Mr. Natsume, have you ever heard of a library? I feel as if it would be a better use of your money. Brave? Or blinkered?
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done.
Oh, no.
I realized how horrible that room's history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful? Horrible history.
Horrible history.
How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa.
Whoa.
Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me.
This is where the cat is just sitting on his face while he's sleeping. That really is horrible.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Oh, no.
Whew! Susato-san knows how to make the man listen.
Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well.
You mean Mr. Garadeb?
Yes. He knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. And I live in an attic.
Perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements.
You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be
Because
a
this
reason
is-
why he keeps such a close...
I was going to say,
Sorry?
this is an economical crisis right now, pal. There's an energy crisis, that's why.
There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms.
What do you mean? He pays so much attention to the gas lamps.
Oh, nothing, no,
Oh
nothing.
dear. No, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything.
Oh. Now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is that Mr. Shamspeare isn't, in fact, dead at all. Once he's come round and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. It would sure be inconvenient if, much like Miss Olive Green, he was in hospital for the entire duration of the trial and unable to communicate anything until afterwards, after I've had to find a bunch of evidence to exonerate you in spite of the fact that he's still alive.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
I'm not.
Oh no. Excuse me.
Gregson?
Or Shams.
It isn't.
Excuse me? I noticed that there were a couple of things missing from the crime scene, and I thought to myself, now who would have been so bold as to steal something from the crime scene directly under your nose, eh? Inspector Gregson. I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh no.
Oh,
Which do you want first?
always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That is my guiding principle.
Well, it turns out
Yes,
he's actually
that's
did
exactly
snuff it.
right.
He actually did snuff it in the end.
Well, right. Well, in that case, the good news it is.
Huh?
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Then why did you make it a question?
I wanted you to have some semblance of control, even though I was going to take it away from you quite promptly.
Then why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, was just unconscious. He's come around now. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already. And then we'll work our way into the bad news.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell.
No. Sorry, no, that's not on the cards.
What?
Why ever not, Inspector?
I'll give you 3 guesses, lady. Mr. Shamspeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone?
Oh dear.
You don't mean...
I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, bother.
By sweat poison that he seeketh to end my life. That wickedest caitiff, Soseki Natsume. I have no bloody idea what caitiff means, but, the rest of it says relatively straightforward.
That goes for all of us.
Yeah.
So, I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned.
Oh dear.
You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations, although fortunately you've already got experience with all that.
No!
Yes!
No!
And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take dock in the Old Bailey.
Oh dear.
I suppose I should just put a nameplate up here at the rate I'm going. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. I had to run away before he asked me to represent him again. The following day I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him.
Oh, that took a long time to say to be continued.
Dramatic pause. Obviously.
Dramatic pause. Let's go.
I was wondering what the twist was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be as straightforward as him getting out of the cell.
No, I'm going to say it's a bit short. The terrible, terrible case that we'll never speak of again is just Soseki spending a little bit of time in jail and then that's it. It was so terrible.
Well, one could have hoped.
The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time.
That's just
Well-
Lord Van Zeek's hovering over your shoulder.
What?
Good evening.
The spirits? Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon.
This is going to be Soseki's.
Yeah.
That's my line!
Oh,
Good morning!
oh dear.
Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsume.
It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here.
Yes, we somehow managed to provide he didn't stab Miss Green in the back.
Prove. But
I
now
don't know how-
this! Another morning, another murder! And here I am again in this hellhole!
Well, technically it's not murder.
Can't.
She's not dead.
Can't keep coming to court!
I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Never mind.
Oh, no.
Mr. Natsume, good morning.
What were you going to say just now?
Oh, nothing. I've forgotten. Oh dear, silly me.
Oh, I left the carriage running.
Yes, morning.
So, here we are again.
You're being very suspicious, Miss Susato. Yes, again. Judicial Assistant, Miss Mikotaba Esquires! What's the bad news?
Did I say bad news? Oh dear. Oh dear. You heard, did you?
Of course I did! I'm always listening for spirits, so of course I can hear silly mumblings.
Oh.
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say!
Well, actually, it was none of your business, so you shouldn't have been listening.
Yeah.
Oh, I am sorry.
You've done nothing wrong, Miss Susato. Now, what is it?
It looks as though Mr. Natsume could use some relief.
A laxative. Some laxatives, that's what he looks like he needs.
Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Baroque Van Zeeks.
Oh, no!
Oh, I'm so shocked. Van Zeeks?
Ah! Oh, no! Oh, no, no!
Oh,
Oh, there he is.
there he is.
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey, the most legendary prosecutor in the land, who I've beaten flawlessly every time. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly.
That sounds a
Of
bit
course,
like slander.
by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through, but still.
Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter, after all.
Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is the prosecutor.
Oh no! Oh no!
But even if a person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end, one way or another.
And we've experienced it firsthand. A man we successfully defended and met the most terrifying end after his acquittal. Right here in the Old Bailey. Even though, if you paid any attention to the first game, you would later learn that... Wait, is it spoilers to say?
Yes.
We're in the second
well,
game, right?
We are in the second game, but this is technically before that happened, so... I was going to say, you could probably say, maybe, but kind of just be like, not that we would know that, because we're currently in the past, so...
Yes, okay. We actually don't know what's going on because we're in the past. Never mind.
I guess I said anything.
This whole case is a flashback, remember? Gah! Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits, and now the Reaper! Pair of petrifying perils, potentially!
Oh, well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
As if. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Ah, yes?
I'm innocent! You have to believe me! You, more than anyone now.
Do I have...
The slurping.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear.
Goodness.
The trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move it to the courtroom.
Let's go!
Don't we? Do we have to? Do we have to? Don't we usually have to wait for a bailiff to grant us access? Could we? I think I'd rather just sit down for a moment, please. Oh, in fact, my goodness, I think I need a handkerchief. I'm sweating bullets.
No, Mr. Natsume. You and Sasato go ahead. Perfect. Yes, let's keep going. Right, I'm gone. Bye. Cab!
Taxi!
Oh, yes. I forgot to say. I'm afraid we won't be able to... sorry. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean.
Oh,
God.
no.
Goodye.
That's probably for the best.
Oh?
If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as weakness, as a weakness. If Lord Van Zeeks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly.
Yes.
It would be highly unfortunate if, later on, for example, I were to rely on some kind of scientific test he developed, and then I would be immediately discredited in court because the scientific test was unproven.
That's exactly
But surely
why I
that
got
wouldn't
rid of
happen.
him. And why he won't be in attendance.
At least, that's my gut feeling.
Mr. Naruhodo.
You're right. Yes. You're so right. Oh, well said, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Well said. Oh.
I swear on this sword at my side and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free. With honor!
Now I must kill you. Now you must kill yourself.
And now you must commit seppuku.
Oh, yes.
Or I shall slice away the Naruhodo growth.
Oh, no. That's
now
unfortunate.
Now that just sounds wrong.
That sounds unfortunate.
That sounds real wrong.
Sounds painful. I don't know about anything else.
The Old Bailey. Oh, and there's some familiar faces.
Oh yeah, I recognise them.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby...
God rest the Queen.
I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
Blay, blay, blay.
The prosecution is ready.
The defense is ready, my lord.
Oh, yes. You.
Oh, here we go, here we go.
Readiness for the trial. My learned Nipponese friend is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat.
Oh yes, heard that one before every other time I've beaten you.
Silence.
It's not just in my imagination. It's really there. Lord Van Zieks has such animosity towards us Japanese for some reason.
It was some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years he hasn't appeared in court at all.
Yet now he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason, only when I'm defending.
Oh, so he's just a racist. That's what's happening. he's just a racist.
This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Soseki-san's trial.
Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Excuse me.
You have been chosen at random.
I'm sure they have.
You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty?
Absolutely. I have a feeling this Larkin wasn't innocent before.
Larrikin.
Larrikin, you're a larrikin. I have a feeling this larrikin wasn't innocent before. There you go.
I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually.
Oh, you want to?
Oh, she's
my.
new.
I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick.
Oh, very good.
I have bad news for you. You're not going to be making that meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight or the missus will go through the roof.
Uh-oh.
Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict.
Are you a friggin' chaplain as well, then?
He's a man of many talents, this guy.
He's like old man Barbie, where he just has 10 different careers.
And Bobby.
The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public.
And, 6 members of the public who have definitely had an inordinate amount of time representing the public's interests.
Yeah. And that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt.
Yes, Susato, that was a very strangely expository statement, given the fact that I'm familiar with this, but I appreciate you making it anyway, I guess, if it's for the benefit of any observers. 6 citizens of London chosen at random. Or at least that's the idea.
I say there is only one that is different on that jury.
There's just a pool of 10 people. That's every time.
Yeah.
The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago.
For which he was proven innocent!
Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today. I suppose that explains it a little bit.
Very well. Let us commence the trial.
It's because making additional models would be hard.
Lord Van Zieks, your opening statement, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision.
Even though you were wrong.
However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. English.
Oh god, that hurt my throat. Gasp.
To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witnesses to the stand.
Oh, these two.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh, he's stripping off. I've got his cape. Oh.
The detective responsible for investigating the scene. And the accused himself.
Beg pardon. What?
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please.
Yes, sir! Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scottish Yard's Homicide Division.
Spirits!
Soseki Natsume, from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. And absolutely not murder anybody. I'm innocent, I tell you!
Mr. Natsume,
Yes, my lord, sir.
I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken that you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday.
That's because it was!
The day before, in fact, my lord. But close enough. Believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court.
Right you are, sir.
Lest my biceps tear from the pathetic cloth that binds them.
Yeah,
The incident occurred at the Geradeb household where the defendant has lodgings.
There's that bloody spotlight again. Has everybody got them?
In the ground floor of the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, in the ground floor room. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question.
Did you say in the ground floor of the victim?
Yes.
That sounds dirty. That sounds dirty.
In the
I missed
ground
that.
floor. Oh yeah, in the ground floor room of the victim. Okay, yeah. It's just like, wait, what?
Sounds a little dirty if you ask me.
This isn't a bawdy 1970s hospital.
No.
Mr. Shamspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine.
Oh,
Strychnine, okay.
He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. Somehow.
Yeah, my body old knee.
Well, I should say that he had Soseki break down the door because on account of the fact that he's a bit in the not so great in the leg strength department.
I've got
My
a
belly
bum
knee.
leg, you know.
My bum leg.
My
Yeah.
bum leg, yes.
This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident, yes?
It's what you might call a locked room murder or a sealed room murder, which you've probably never heard of before. So if you need an explanation, I'd be happy to tell you.
This is the first one in this game. It hasn't, like, every case hasn't been a locked room murder. Just about. Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible.
Although the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, lives to tell tale. He very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked.
Oh, marvelous. Very interesting. Oh, and it's in color. Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased.
Is he on his side like that? Who's his head to the side?
Yeah, it was.
Was it? I thought
Yeah,
it was
he's sort of
face down.
sat. He's like flopped in the chair with his head to one side.
There's a puddle on the floor that we didn't see.
I was
That
just
probably
about
will
to.
come
Yeah, I
up.
was going to say about the puddle. Also interesting about the hole with the wood over it, but I think that's not relevant. The puddle probably is relevant.
That's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was.
Very well. I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court.
A crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record.
Now then, Mr. Natsume,
Oh, yes.
as the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture?
I didn't do it.
They're haunted. Oh, haunted by evil spirits.
Oh dear.
Good gracious. What's haunted?
Your mother.
My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings.
Get your pipe down, fella. You're hurting my ear over here.
I'm not deaf.
The tenant before me
Not
died.
yet, anyway.
The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned, and me! What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times.
Killed, Mr. Natsume? Oh.
Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me!
You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume.
But it's so cold! My runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
I'm
That's
afraid
enough.
it's not a case of being cursed, more that the Society of Britain is quite racist at this time period.
Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events.
Oh no.
If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point.
I'd prefer if you didn't.
Conclusive? Go on.
Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit.
Oh, bother.
I like how Van Zieksen becomes Matt Berry every now and again.
Why'd you have to ruin it?
I wasn't ruining
I was
it.
just doing it silly.
I found it amusing. Don't you bump at me.
I can't do a Matt Bray, but I do like the way he pronounces certain words. And I do try to inject it a little bit.
Yeah, he does have a very distinct voice, I have to say.
Like, the poisoner consumed by the victim. I absolutely can't. Anyway, the poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question.
How British of him.
Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused.
Oh. Okay.
The accused? Good grief! Order! Order!
Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why? Why has the victim accused him? He must
Well-
have really wanted to win that debate about Shakespeare.
Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation?
Spirits!
That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result! Never will I touch tea again! Never!
The public pump was frozen, you say?
That's not information we've heard before.
That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once, because otherwise that would be what I like to call bullshit. Therefore...
Do I have to gavel that?
I mean, I said bullshit.
Bullshirt.
That's a 10.
Oh.
Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection.
Oh, none whatsoever, my lord.
But just what we're
I
talking
wouldn't be legally able to object anyway.
Good. Then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now.
Just to make sure, do I get a summation examination as well? Just asking for a friend.
Don't push it.
Yes, my lord!
Jesus Christ, son, you don't have to shout.
Swing.
You know, your voice is gonna go out if you keep shouting like that.
I know. It's killing me.
I'm gonna have to stuff
Tell
chips
me about
in
it.
my ears.
The catastrophic night. It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor, and I took some...
Oh, I feel like I remembered seeing a comment last episode, or one of the episodes.
about
that said
pressing
something about
everything,
pressing
right?
everything.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, because there's some like good little nuggets of dialogue, I believe.
Yes. So we'll have to do that.
Press everything.
I mean, that's kind of
I
what
mean,
we
we
do
were probably
anyway.
gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, when I visited my neighbor, and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice...
Heated.
Yes. We had a...
Heated.
Excuse me. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11.
11.
Ah! My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands.
Yep.
Guest.
Yes.
Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward.
Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though.
What are you doing? Stop it! You're making it sound more suspicious!
The teacups have to be examined for traces of the poison. Haven't they?
They have been examined.
Oh, sorry. The teacups have been examined for traces of the poison. Haven't they?
Why didn't I think of that?
That's because I'm your assistant, otherwise you'd be in a mess.
Well, as it happens, no. We haven't been able to.
Ah! There! You see? I'm innocent!
Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scottish Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance.
How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done?
All right. Keep your hair on, sunshine.
Don't you go
I'm
projecting
sorry, I
on
didn't
me,
realize I
sunshine.
was talking to Inspector Naruhodo over there. You want to switch places there, Sunshine?
I like to see you do my job.
My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed.
What?
Beg pardon.
The inspector said Scottish Yard was unable to examine the tea. Not that it was overlooked.
Unable? Why? It's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed.
And then, licked out the inside of the cup as well. With current scientific techniques, it is not possible to test for poison under such circumstances. It's almost
So it
as
looks
if
like you
they
have no
knew.
evidence then. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily. Is that the stain? Is that the stain
Maybe.
on the picture?
Maybe.
Wait, the stain on the picture?
The water stain, remember the
on
puddle that we
floor,
pointed
the
out?
picture.
Oh. Right, this.
Yes.
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 The lack of examination, notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
My dear fellow, have you not heard of eating soap?
I was thinking of something different when he said nothing else passed his lips on the night in question. but,
Taylor,
that's just-
ew! No!
He wasn't eating
Body
a
hospital.
He wasn't eating a sausage, you know.
Oh,
Sussig.
he wasn't
Gasp.
having any saucy nutmeg.
See, the problem is I would do like a gasping noise, but as soon as I do gasp, I immediately start coughing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't kill yourself.
Yep.
Exclamation.
Gasp in English.
Gasp in Japanese.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Gasps in British.
I see. Thank you. The matter is clear.
Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend.
Oh no. What?
What?
You can see it in their faces, I'm sure.
The gormless face.
The face is absent of all gorm, any hint of gorm.
No gorm at all.
Yes.
The recognition of the accused's guilt.
Yes, I can read his face.
Can't you see
perfectly.
the rage on his face? The indignation. I'm sad to say I can't, actually.
Like flipping Father Christmas over here. It's just like... Did
Oh,
not leave this
Oh,
door
what am
on?
I?
You're right. So what? What's the what?
Oh no. I can't say because it will spoil it for Taylor. But the latest episode of What We Do in the Shadows of the new one. You know what I mean.
I think I
You know what I mean. It refers to Nando.
The face.
I can't. Oh, I didn't want to say.
Well, I'm not gonna say, but
Yeah,
the
I
face.
can't say. If you at home have watched it, then maybe you know, but I'm not going to spoil it because Taylor hasn't seen it.
It
so-
involves wishes, and a face,
And a face.
and his face.
And Nando.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Devoid of expression.
your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity.
All right, then, tell us how you really feel. He's right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. Even that one in the middle that looks like he's staring off into space. Owie! But I can't let them beat me down. I won't. I
Counsel
can't.
for the
I
def-
mustn't.
Counsel for the defense. Proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord.
Careful, Mr. Naruhodo, you'll break your neck.
The eyes again. He's got the.
You'll
He's
get
got the.
minor whiplash.
minor women's whiplash, Jill.
Lynn.
Lynn, not Jill.
Not
Why did I say
I
Jill?
don't
Like
know.
minor women's whiplash, Lynn. Anyway. All right then. So
Okay, press everything.
Press everything. All righty then, as you all insist.
Hold it! Were you and your neighbor good friends, then?
Ah, no, we weren't friends. Not at all. Not at all.
Definitely not. Now he's accused me.
Never, ever.
A simple no would have sufficed. Then, why did you decide to pay him a visit?
Mr. Shamspeare fancies himself
Fancy.
Fancy.
Examine the
Mr.
fancy.
Shamspeare fancies himself as having a great literary knowledge. Mr. Shamspeare fancies himself as having great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together.
That sort of sounds like your friends.
Come now. No Nipponese could understand the finer points of English literature.
Jesus.
Wow.
Right.
Right then, glossing over that extremely racist statement. And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume.
It was the day of my last trial when I was acquitted. I'd just arrived back at my lodgings when I ran into Mr. Shamspeare outside on the street. That was at around 6 o'clock. We exchanged one or two pleasantries, but it soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though. So I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have ill intentions? No! Not one, not two, not any! Not at all! Never, ever!
A simple no would have sufficed, I feel.
Not you two!
You know, for someone so familiar with Shakespeare, you should be familiar with the whole methinks the lady doth protest too much. And in this case, methinks the Japanese gentleman doth say no too many times.
Methinks the Nipponese doth say no too much. Then tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room.
We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11.
Oh, I could go for a hot drink right now. A literary debate about Shakespeare's works, I think you said, didn't you?
Whoops. Sorry.
Shakespeare? Oh, I thought you said Shamspeare, sorry. A very worthy topic of conversation, I must say.
Oh, yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet. Who was stronger? It was profoundly pleasurable parley.
My goodness.
Romeo and Juliet?
Who was stronger?
I know I'm going to regret asking. This, but how did the debate go?
Well, we both agreed that we would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment.
Oh my god!
So we battled it out in a Greco-Roman style, naturally.
What?
Oh, no, I used to know what that meant, but I don't know what that means anymore.
Greco-Roman.
I feel like I've heard that before, and I used to know what it means, but I don't. Unless it's just them just doing it out loud.
Well, you know, we went to the Museum of Fine Arts and we saw a lot of Greco-Roman stuff. So if it's anything like what I'm imagining, it probably involves a fair amount of,
There was a lot of sword play.
I don't think we saw a lot of Greco-Roman. Greco-Roman is a term.
No, I saw a lot of Monsieur Lecoq.
We saw more of the Romans than we ever thought we would.
Yeah.
Anyway, and on that bombshell, Mr. Shamspeare had all sorts of costumes in his room for just such a contest. And this
the costume consisted of a loincloth of people.
This might explain what one of our commenters was saying about there being women's underwear in his room. I mean,
that's true, yes.
If one of them had to play Juliet, I mean, there you go.
I mean.
There you are.
Well, actually, back in Shakespeare's time, all of the female roles were traditionally played by young boys.
That's true.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Colin.
You're welcome. So, when you said a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume?
He as Romeo, and I as Juliet.
Oh,
For God's sake.
And after a vigorous...
The game is doing the work for us!
And after a vigorous wild tussle, I, as Juliet, came out on top. A victory I'll cherish forever!
oh my god!
I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage.
No!
The fact remains that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim, correct?
Oh no.
I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I heard that he was too poor to have tea himself, you see.
Too busy spending it on soap.
Yes.
It's true, there was no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room, which I am to understand is a crime among British culture.
It's practically illegal. I wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such suspicion?
I mean, you have just said
Probably-
you dressed up as Juliet.
My
Yeah,
tea
yes,
was
I believe that's-
harmless!
What?
I believe it's because you just admitted to dressing up as Juliet and coming out on top in a vigorous Greco-Roman style struggle, which you didn't have to put that information out there. Nobody asked you for it, but you did, and it's out there.
Thanks,
and-
but did I ask?
Yes. Now everybody knows.
My tea was harmless. Of course it was!
And do you have any basis for that statement, witness?
Okay.
Yes, and there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, was there?
That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. Which
Not
is a
comment.
pity, because one drop is all we would have needed to analyze it for poison.
Naughty.
And you say that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsume?
Yes, definitely. By heaven and earth, I swear it.
The landlord was able to verify, as it happens. He confirmed
Oh,
He
We broke him.
confirmed that the defendant went back to his room at 11 that night.
Sorry, I was just imagining him, Mr. Soseki, as Juliet for a moment. That
yeah.
distracted me.
With the mustache and everything, it was a bit of a picture in my mind, I have to say.
And how is the landlord able to attest to this?
He, said it was the lamps, I believe.
Those bloody lamps.
It doesn't sound crazy at all.
No.
Huh? Did you say the lamps?
Oh, no, Hajime! Hajime, no!
The lamps, Inspector?
The lamps.
When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker.
I said to myself.
Yes, Mr. Karadeb seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants.
There's only one key to Mr. Shakespeare's room.
Shamspeare.
Shamspeare! Gosh, his flippin' name. I know that for certain. So, he must have locked the door himself from inside his room.
The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes.
So I'm right! My tea was harmless! Completely harmless!
Saying it louder doesn't make you seem any more innocent, fella.
If you take poison, you die! Everyone knows that!
Aye, and people die when they're killed as well. It's not that simple, I'm afraid.
What do you mean?
Strychnine takes some time for the wine to dine in flying.
Did you just say wine? Bring me another bottle.
Yes.
I'm not convinced of this one.
If only we could get online.
For the crime.
How long does it take for symptoms to appear then?
According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation.
Oh, sounds lovely.
So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. There seem to be a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure.
Oh dear. Death by poisoning again. It's always so awful.
I think Carrara is still the worst, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
pretty
It
rough.
sounds pretty down
That's
bad.
pretty rough.
30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left.
You can't deny that. And it further degrades Soseki-san's alibi.
I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it.
Very well.
It's not as if there was some kind of hole in the window
Oh,
through
yeah, I
which
was
somebody
thinking
could
that.
have tossed poison into the tea or something. That would just be patently ridiculous.
The court will add this report to the court record as evidence.
Yeah, well, best we guess read it then.
Yeah.
We'll read it in a moment.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms.
Great.
Great.
Scottish
Ryunosuke
Ryunosuke.
said
I don't know why I
Scottish.
did the trill. Great.
Hold it.
The argument still stands, you say? This is what Mr. Natsume has been saying, isn't it? The pair of them drank tea together that night, and then wrestled in costume, which I'm still trying to forget, if I'm being honest. So if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door after the accused left later on.
Exactly! Gah! Me and my tea are innocent! Sweet and innocent, I tell you.
No, I'm afraid, sir, that doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for symptoms to appear. So you could have left the room up to 30 minutes after the victim drank the tea. And as long as you did that, Mr. Shamspeare could have locked the door after you'd gone.
But no! We drank the tea straight away. The battle over whether Romeo or Juliet was stronger, that came after the tea.
Do you have any evidence to support that statement?
Bother.
In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, we have a saying. Drink tea while it's hot.
Sure, a proverb will satisfy the prosecution.
I'm afraid there's no conclusive proof to support the defendant's assertion. On the contrary, there are sufficient grounds to infer his guilt in this matter.
No!
That's the extent of the testimony, is it?
If I could voice a personal opinion, Mr. Naruhodo.
Of course. Go ahead.
Mr. Natsume is arguing for his innocence so adamantly and so persistently. Yet Inspector Graveson just brushes what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating.
I can't hear you over there, you know. You're not that quiet.
So we need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think.
I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty. But will they find him guilty?
I don't know, will they?
What?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out next time.
Oh no!
Oh no!
How could you do this?
I'm sorry.
How could you do this, Sarah? Now we've got to remember to look at the autopsy report, or whatever it is, the coroner's report or whatever.
Just make sure nobody updates it in the meantime.
We've
But
got
anyway.
to make the medical report. We've got to make sure that we remember to read it next time. We're never going to remember. We're gonna die.
We're gonna die.
We're gonna be dead.
Mr. Natsume is going to the clink forever.
Anyway,
You'll be dead. We're going to be
can I do this freaking outro or
Yeah,
not?
go for it.
Thank you. On that note, if you do like what we do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the notification bell so you're notified of our video uploads every Wednesday and every Saturday.
Yeah, and drop a comment down below. We like to read them.
Yeah, don't say comment.
It's fun.
No, don't say comment.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe you
Anyway, until next time, we'll see you again.
Yeah.
And remember, if you take tea to somebody's room and then engage in a wrestling match with them, you're friends. It doesn't really matter what else happens. If you get dressed up in costume and then wrestle, you're at the very least friends. Maybe something else, but you can't be like, no, I'm not friends with that person. That just, there's the line there. You don't, yeah. Just